Good morning, everybody. Sorry we're a couple minutes late. We are coming to you from, at least some of us are coming to you from sunny Florida, our south operation. I want to take a little second to show you
Hey,
the
Jim,
gang.
just a second here, buddy. It's
not
sunny
the
up here in Maryland too,
Yes,
FYI.
we're not sunny today, actually. But anyway, we got the JSG marketing team down here. And we had a really productive meeting yesterday with the agents down here, and got some big things going and big things planned, and very excited about what's happening. So our topic today, what episode are we on, Dana?
I don't even know. 15, 16.
15 or 16, and it is green features.
Yes. Your favorite green features in the house.
Yes. So I'll just lay out a quick little outline, Dana, if that's okay.
Yep.
I think the big topic here is solar panels. So we'll come back to that. But what are some other like sort of under the radar green things that you've seen, Dana, that you like or don't like?
Episode 16, by the way.
Okay.
So when we were in our Crofton house, we had, which was perfect at the time, and then I put them in poplar, and it didn't. I guess maybe the timing was off or something. I don't really know, but automatic lights, which were kind of great when you had little babies, and you had to get up in the middle of the night and go 10, because as soon as you walk and the motion detector picks you up, then the light clicks. But it also shuts off after you can set the time like short or medium or long or whatever, so you can set it for a short amount of time. So as soon as you get to where you're going, then the light turns off. You don't have to worry about turning the light off. It saves electricity in the time because lights aren't burning all. That was a cool thing in Crofton that I tried it in poplar, and for whatever reason, I think it was just faulty. It's too lazy to get into the wires and stick it back out. But it seemed like the light wanted to stay on for a long amount of time, or it was really, really sensitive, and no matter where you were, it's just like even if you peeked your head around the corner, it would automatically click on. So that was maybe a little, but
some visitors, some ghost types.
Exactly, 100%.
Right. I don't know if you saw today, but Stephen King sleeps with the lights on, so we're not.
Well,
he's a resident of the Gulf Coast of Florida as well.
That's right.
Dana and I saw him. Fun little fact there. Last time we were down here.
Yeah.
So my favorite green feature, and super easy, is the Nest thermostat.
Yep, that's on my list.
So we have two actually at the homestead in Maryland, and we have one as well in the condo here, and super cool. You can obviously it senses if you're in the house, if you're not, and what you set the temperature for. So it's a really good way to be efficient about what you're doing there. What do you think about tankless hot water heaters, Dana?
Fantastic. They've come a long, long way. They used to not be that great when they first came out. They've come a long, long way, and they're if you have natural gas, the electric has gotten much, much better. If you have natural gas, then it's perfect for that. I mean, it's wonderful.
And the big win there, I think it's cheaper to generate the water or the heated water, and then the other side is it's endless, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's endless. So the one big one that we love is the houses that have the garden tubs in there, and they're 100-gallon or whatever, however much it holds, 100 gallons or 125 gallons or whatever, and your hot water heater is a 50-gallon hot water heater, so you never have enough hot water to actually fill a bathtub. So, that makes it a little bit difficult. A lot of the houses, they only have the small hot water heaters in there, so you can never really utilize the bathtub as designed, I guess you'd say. So
so I'm just going to put a bow around all of this, but I would tell you that if your appliances are more than probably 10, 15 years old, a lot more efficient today, and HVAC systems. So I know my house is 15 years old, and we had good stuff when we had it built, and they were 12.
Antiquated.
And what are they at now, Dana?
It's antiquated now. What you have is guarantee it's antiquated. It's done by the efficiencies, and I'm not an HVAC guy, but I've put enough of them in. There's a SEER rating that they go by, and the SEER rating is the efficiency of them. So I think probably when your house was built, the highest was probably a 15 SEER.
Well,
And now they go up to like 22, 23 SEER.
and I'm at 12, buddy.
You're at 12, so there you go.
Yeah.
And that was a high-end home.
That's right.
And you were at 12. So, and now, like, I just put one in Poplar, the rental house, and that's a 15 SEER. And that's like, you know, it's not bottom of the line, it's like middle of the road. But if you're going to be in there, but it's a rental property, I hate to say that, but it's a rental property. You know, the higher you go in SEER, the more expensive the unit is, but the more efficient it is as well. So if it's something that you're going to stay.
How much more efficient would like an 18 SEER unit be than what I have?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. A lot more efficient, but I don't know what that would break down to as far as like energy costs. It would definitely decrease your energy costs. It'll decrease your electric bill 100%.
Okay. And then
there's a breakdown there, Jimmy. There's a you know, associated cost with that as well, because then it's like, you know, well, if you could go to 20 SEER or 21 SEER, but they're a lot more expensive. And by the time you get that money back,
right? Like if you're on your loan or whatever. Yeah.
I think the one we just put in here 3 years ago was an 18 SEER. And our good buddy that we know, Chris Tippett, he was telling me that's about the break even. Like that's, you know, the highest you really want to go. You can go higher than that, but then you're really starting to see diminishing return.
Got it.
That's the sweet spot.
One other thing I think that is super important is windows. You know, if your windows, you need to have windows with the low E glass.
Down here, you need to have hurricane.
Right. Okay. And in Florida, Ed just told me, you know, you have to have hurricane-proof windows as well. So.
And windows save a lot. Now, I don't know, I haven't had them in long enough, but I just put windows in the rental property. And they're low E glass, double pane. And what was in there was single pane windows, old wood single pane with storms. And they were not efficient in any stretch of the imagination. So we'll see how well that does. And one of the other things we did too over there, which I'll never do again, is improve the insulation in the attic, the blown-in insulation, the cellulose. And the reason I say I'll never do it again is because I personally did it. I'll never do that job. I think when it was all done, said and done, I think I saved like $400 or $500. But it was a mess.
In the shower, trying to get it all washed off.
All day long, and it was messy. I had stuff up my neck. It was everywhere. It's more of a job than you'd want to do. And I think to pay an insulation company to come out there and do that particular house would have cost me, you know, $1,200 to insulate the whole entire attic. And I think I did it for like $500 or $600.
You had me at hello, Dana. I was out.
Live and learn, Jim. You don't know until you do it. So
that's well, I know that.
Now I got the t-shirt.
I knew that already.
It's like tobacco back in the day. I did tobacco one time just because I wanted to say that I did it. I'll never do it again.
Okay, let's get to the elephant in the room. Solar panel.
Yep. Solar panels.
Okay. I'll give you my 2 cents worth. I don't know how Ed, how many do you think we've done with solar panels in the last couple of years? 10, 20?
I was going to say 15.
Okay. So yeah, right in the middle. So let's say we've done 15 deals in the last couple of years with solar panel, and a handful of people, including our own Angie McGinnis. She bought a house that has solar panels, but she has tremendous coverage and she's got great sunlight. So for them, their bill is it was a sort of a no-brainer. But for the vast majority of people, it's a nebulous exercise. And what I would tell you, unless you pay outright, which very few people do, most people lease them. And the tricky part is that when you sell the house, you have a 20-year lease on, and let's say you got them 3 years ago, then the new buyer is obligated to assume the time remaining on your lease.
Unless the seller wants to pay it off.
Which nobody does.
Correct.
And it's prohibitive. I mean, I think for most houses, you're talking, what, $25,000 to pay off the lease?
Easy. Yeah.
So it's more than a notion. And what happens is a lot of times you get two things. Number one, the solar people will put the panels, and they're heavy, so they're a little hard on your roof, and they'll put it on a roof that's sort of negligible age-wise, and then you have problems, somewhere along the way in that 20 years, you're going to have to replace the roof, which, again, it's tricky to get everything coordinated, get the panels off and put them back. And then the other side of it is what I run into a lot is that depending on how much sun you get, you end up with two bills. You don't get enough solar to wipe out your electric bill. And then it just kind of you have a confusing, so you pay $160 to the solar people, and you got $130 electric and gas bill, and and you have a house, and somebody goes, well, I don't know what the bill should have been. So here you have a $280 bill. You got to pay to two different people, and so
it doesn't go away.
And I'm going to let Dana riff on this a little bit, because they're definitely it definitely is an impediment. I would tell you, if you were looking at solar, if it's not your forever home, don't do it. If it's your dream home and you want to save the planet and save a few bucks, great. But if you're going to be in the house for less than 20 years, or you think that there's a possibility you might move, then my recommendation would be not to have them. We see they're also, depending on who the company is, they can be tricky to get them on the phone and get all the, we've had a lot of settlements, that been down to the wire getting the solar contract.
It's pretty much always the last thing. It seems like it's the last thing that gets taken care of every time. I don't care who the solar company is. It's tricky to get them on the phone. It's tricky to get the contract, and then it's tricky to see what the bill is actually going to be. And then of course, then they've got this like stepped billing where it goes up a little bit every month. So I agree. I feel like they've gotten better, but it's still a pain in the butt.
Everything, I think there's some good to it. I would just say that go in with your eyes open and make sure that that the value proposition is very strong. If you're going to,
well, and then I think you have to have, it's either 10, they have to determine that there's 10 or 15 years left on the shingles before they will install the solar panels on them. But you and I both know there's no way you can tell when the shingle is at the end of its life. And when we bought the rental property in 2009, we were told at that point in time by our home inspector that the roof is done and we need to budget for a roof in the next 2 years. I still haven't put a roof on. No, it's gone longer. It's a simple house, but it's impossible to tell how long the shingles have left on them. Who goes out there? Anyway.
So anyway, put a bow on solar. Just be careful. Obviously, we've been through it a little bit. So if you are on the phone with them and they give you a proposition, you want to run it by us, we're happy to listen, give you some advice on that. One thing I thought about, Dana, that I had not thought about before, that I wanted to ask you about, because I'm sure you'll know something about it. What do you think of geothermal?
It's a fantastic system. If it's going to be your forever home.
By the way, for the
wait, what did you say?
I just said geothermal, and you and I know what we were talking about, but I just wanted to make sure people understood we're talking. It's an HVAC.
So correct.
Geothermal is
basically uses the heat and the coolness of the earth itself. They bury lines in your yard, so you have to have a yard that's going to be that you can do that with. So they bury lines in the yards, and basically it's a constant. The earth is a constant temperature, no matter how cold it is on the surface. When you go however far below the earth, it's a constant temperature below the frost, where water lines are buried and all that kind of stuff. So in the wintertime, it pulls heat from the earth, and then in the summertime, it pulls the coolness from the earth because of that. But they're expensive. I want to say they're at least $50,000. They're probably more expensive these days. I know a few years ago it was $50,000 than a geothermal. I would imagine they've gotten a little bit more efficient, but with the cost of everything going up, supplies, metals, and all that kind of stuff, the cost of everything has gone up. So I can't imagine where they are today. But if it's going to be your forever home, then sure, it's a fantastic system. If it's a 5 or 10 year stop, you'll never get your money back.
Gotcha.
So
Okay. Any green features we can think of that we're missing out that are worth mentioning?
You already admit, I did let's see, the insulation in the attic is an easy one, fairly cheap to do, and that adds, that helps quite a bit. Keeping the heat in the attic instead of it coming through your drywall ceiling and making the rest of the house warm. Same thing in the wintertime. So that's a great one to do. The Nest thermostat you had already mentioned. LED lights are an easy one to do. They burn a lot less electricity than incandescent lights do, and they also they don't get hot like incandescent lights do. You take a light bulb out and it burns your hands. You got to wait for it to cool down. LED doesn't do that.
Dana,
What?
that's a good college word there.
What?
Incandescent.
Oh, yes, right. Incandescent, fluorescent, and then you got the LED. So the LED, they don't.
Now you're just showing off.
LED is a great one to do. They're not exactly cheap, but they supposedly last for a long, long time because it's low voltage.
Yeah.
And then another one that's easy to do, if you have access, if you have an open basement, is insulation around the hot water pipes. Obviously, if you have instant hot water, you don't have to worry about it. But if you have a water heater, you can get jackets that go around the hot water heaters. Now, I have heard controversial, like they shorten the life of the water heater. I don't know if that's true or not. They make jackets that go around the water heater that'll keep it warmer, keep it hotter for longer. And then the pipes, they make, foam wraps that go around all your copper pipes or your pipes. And then that helps keep the water warmer in the pipes as well. So that's an easy thing to do. Those foam sleeves aren't that expensive. But obviously if you have a finished basement and you can't get to 3 feet of a line with the water heater, is probably not much good. But
and I want to say the BGE does a free energy audit. So they'll come to your house and they'll kind of go through and give you all the little things that you can do reasonably economically to save money. But hopefully it hit me while we've been talking. But your number one expense is heating and cooling your house. And, so most of the things we've been talking about and most of the things that are efficiency based are really centered around making that expense lower.
Right. So that would be your insulation in your attic, your windows, insulation in the walls, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's green stuff. I'm sure we missed some things. If you have some things that we didn't and you want to let us know and you want us to bring it up on the next broadcast, we certainly will. Next week, we're going to have a good topic. We actually are moving things around a little bit, but there's a lot of confusion about what's going on in the market. And, we always talk it's the Wild West, and it really is, but we thought it would be good to explain some of that and what the current realities are and how best to navigate it. But anyway, I think that's a good little morning for us there.
Yeah, that's good. I got to get to the ALC meeting.
Yep. And just as usual, I am in Florida now. I'll be here for another couple of days. And we have great people here. Obviously, have great people in Maryland. We're having a great year in both places, and would love to help you. Again, if you are on the Gulf Coast of Florida, again, anything really south of Tampa, north of Fort Myers, on the Gulf, it's beautiful down here. We'd love to see you, and we got you covered in Maryland. So we'll see you next Tuesday, and have a great day.
See you, everyone. Bye.